Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick, and today, guys, we're jumping down into the world of Cardano's ADA, taking a look at what's been going on most recently and what I would expect to happen next. Now, as I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Now, if you have not yet joined us in Discord, the link is in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. There's also two additional links in the description down below that you might find interesting. The first one is to the Patreon services, where we cover a lot more in Discord for our Patreon members. Everything from buying, selling, staking alerts to trading, project reviews, AMAs, and a whole host of additional benefits. If that sounds like something you're interested in, why not check that one out? And the second link is to the new Cheeky podcast, a fantastic way of staying up to date on everything crypto whilst on your commute to the office. This is on Apple, Spotify, and here on YouTube, so why not check that out as well? Completely free, and fantastic way to stay up to date. Right, let's waste no more time though. Let's jump right down into this. Right, Cardano paired up with USDT on the hourly chart. Binance is the data source, and we've been tracking an interesting kind of structure to the downside, which we are trying the tracking as a zigzag corrective pattern, or we are trying to track it down as an impulsive move. Okay, I think it's just a zigzag, which means we're probably going to be looking for a bounce of significance upwards, again more corrective action before we actually drop back down again. I think ultimately we're trending with the rest of the market for Cardano, but we're not actually creating a trend to the downside. We've just got a lot of overlap, a lot of micro corrections, and all of that kind of good stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to just remove the fibs here, and we're going to talk about these recent moves down here. There's no real point in me zooming out too far, because essentially all we're really tracking are these moves to the downside, right? Basically a WXY taking us down lower in a three-wave structured move, which is part of a much bigger WXY on a macro if you zoom out even further. So we're going to focus in on this kind of Y wave coming to the downside here. Essentially, this kind of is approximately about 22.23 on the low side. However, I think that's a tad too low, but I could be wrong, and it could actually hit that level. For me, I'm really focusing in on this one, which is basically between 28 and 34 cents. This is a good area, strong area support previously. So let's now talk about this kind of move, right? We have a 5-wave move here. We had a 3-wave move up, and we've already kind of got ourselves some kind of sub-wave structures going on. Now, with a 5-wave structure coming down here, which would be a leading diagonal because we have overlap between wave 4 and wave 1, which again, is subject to whether or not I want to keep this as a 5-wave structured move or not. And the reason for this really depends on what happens next. Okay, so a wave 3 would not be the shortest wave, okay, but it probably wouldn't be the longest wave. So I would expect some kind of short move here, which could be a 5-3-5-3-5 structure still. But at the moment, this is just looking like a zigzag pattern, meaning that our diagonal here potentially could actually just be a WXYXZ corrective structure anyway. So I'll left it like this for now, and I'm going to continue to leave it like this for now, to set depending on what's going on here, and the subject to how this part of the chart structures, I may change this into a corrective count rather than a 5-wave count. Okay, but that being said, this is just technical stuff that maybe you're not that familiar with. If you're not, join us in Discord. I've got some materials on Elliott wave theory that will help you understand what I'm talking about in a bit more detail. But for the most part here, we are tracking a pretty clear 5-wave move down, right? And this is basically to marry up with this 5-wave move. So we can't just have 5 waves on their own. So 5 waves down, 3 waves up. We should look for 5 waves down as a minimum. A minimum would be a 5-3-5 structure. So 5-3-5 structure. Essentially, this basically is what is called a zigzag or an ABC. Okay, and inside each of these, you would have a 5-wave structured move here. You would have a 5-wave structured move here, and you'd have a 3-wave structured move here, right? So essentially what you end up with is a 5-3-5 structure, which is a macro ABC, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. And basically that's kind of what we're looking at here on the minimum side. This is the minimum requirement. This, of course, could turn into a 5-wave structure, which consists of a 5-3-5-3-5. So, interesting to kind of see how this one plays out. But down here, we can obviously see a pretty clear impulsive move, impulsive being 5 waves. to the downside. And if we have this measured out, you can see here we push past the 1.618. We're actually heading down towards the 2.618. What's not clear is our wave 3 probably hasn't finished yet. We haven't had that fourth wave bounce just yet. So what we want to do is we want to ascertain from this upper side whether or not we've finished, where do we estimate our wave 3 to finish, and where does our fifth wave finish going down lower. Okay, obviously our lows are set down here, over here. Our existing low point is 40.19. Okay, so whether or not we're going to drop down into new lower lows, looking at it, I think we probably are. So just be cautious on that one. Okay, cool. So with all that said, let's actually take a look, right? So here we obviously have our structure coming down. What we want to do is we just want to see where our kind of fifth wave would end and where our next structure would end. So if we see here we have overlap, so that's unlikely to be what we're looking for. So I would take this as my wave 3, this is our wave 4, and then this as my wave 5. That basically becomes wave 1 within our third wave. Then, of course, we're going to take a look at this. We have our 3-wave structure upwards, and then we start our descent coming down. So I'd say 1, 2, probably what looks likely to be an interesting kind of move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I'd probably say we're either here, moving down into there. That's a possible count. Maybe not even there. Maybe we got a long way to go just yet. Maybe it's not as finished as I first thought it was looking at it. And just trying to ascertain where these subwave counts are. We would basically be looking at us maybe not even finishing wave 3 within wave 3 at this point. Let me just pull this into a 30-minute chart, see if it can make it any clearer. Not really. It's basically just rinse and repeat. It's the same kind of drop, right? A little bit of overlap, and then we pull back down again. So for the most part, I would say this is an interesting point. I would probably say that's pretty much 1, 2, 3. It could be a leading, I guess. Of a 1, then 2. Yeah, I would say that we've probably got quite a bit further to go here on this count. So this being wave 1, this being wave 2, all of this being wave 3, I don't think this is anywhere near complete just yet. There would be a wave 4 bounce and then a fifth wave taking us down lower afterwards. Okay, so if I'm right in thinking this, then essentially from here, this actual point, let me just grab hold of this point and this one. So this is our first 5-wave count. Move this over to here. Let me actually pull that back up into the hourly, right? So actually, let me just go back here. Just remove that from there. Go back to our hourly chart. So this 5-wave structure here, right? If we take this low point with a fib, take the low, take the high right here, move it over into our bounce high, and then we pull back down. We could potentially be looking at 36.3 to make this whole thing impulsive down, which would be very, very interesting, because I don't think that wave 3 is anywhere near complete just yet, meaning that our wave 3 could potentially come down quite a bit further. Then we bounce up, then we come down and just hit this 1.618 area, making this whole entire thing a third wave move. So for Cardano, I'm not sure that we've got much room to the upside to be had just yet. I would expect some volatile movements, but I think we're just kind of repeating this scenario. Trying to get the subwave count on this overextended overextended third wave is really, really difficult. So I would say that we're probably still within wave 3 of wave 3, within our wave, within our wave 3 here. So yeah, I would say that, yeah, we've kind of got a long way to go. Let's check the stocks. Overbought on the hourly chart. Do expect some downside price action then. 4 hours got to go up, 8 hours got to go up, daily's got to go up, but not right now. I would estimate that most of that will happen within the fourth wave move. So yeah, I'd keep a close eye on that. Now, invalidation is set at 46 cents exactly. Going up higher than there either means that we've completed this move to the downside within this structure, or we just invalidated it and it's a 3-wave move. Okay, so keep an eye on those things. But I would say, yeah, we're probably much I would say we're heading down. We're heading down pretty low with this one, I think, into probably this area. It might actually come down lower if that is just a third wave, a bounce up. Maybe we'll come down to the lower side of 28 cent there. But one to be really cautious on and interested in. The subwave counting here on this move to the downside is incredibly hard to tell exactly where this one's going to end. I would say that we're probably within the wave 3, waiting for the wave 4 move inside our wave 3 here, meaning that essentially we've got more room to the downside. Probably look to find 40.19 within our wave 3 as our low point. So for example, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3 comes down to 40.19, hits a double bottom for kind of like a bullish kind of bounce. We move up into a wave 4, then we drop back down again, something like that. And I would estimate that's probably much where I would estimate maybe that's going to go. And maybe our 5th wave then comes down and actually hits the trigger points. It's also possible, of course, that our wave 3 just extends much further past there, and we just lose that area of support. We bounce up and we then test it within wave 4, and then we break down again as we get rejected from it. So what was previously support was turned into resistance. So I think there's a couple of different things to kind of be keeping an eye out on. It's a shame that I cannot be more descriptive over where I think wave 3 is likely to end, but with the subwave counting here being very, very difficult to actually read, I would estimate that actually we've got a lot more room to the downside within this wave 3 before we even have the wave 4 bounce, and then after that we would drop down again. So if this is a wave 3, which I think it might be, it's not necessarily looking like a zigzag at this point, then I would actually estimate that we are probably going to be heading right down into the lower side of our little box here towards 28 cent on the macro scale. So keep all that in the back of your heads. But essentially Cardano here I think has got a lot more room to the downside than to the upside right now under this structure. But the stochastic RSI is going to be interesting to keep an eye on the momentum to see whether or not we can shift this around a little bit. If we throw the volume on here, you can see that the volume has actually been decreasing a little bit here since selling pressure started. But yeah, I think ultimately the green volume, buying volume, is a lot lower than the selling volume. So the sentiment is very much sell, not buy, looking at it from that kind of perspective. So yeah, keep an eye on that. But I'm expecting more downside here for Cardano. Hopefully once we complete this wave to the downside, everything will clear up and become a little bit more easier to kind of spot the next kind of subwave counts and the moves for Cardano. But those are kind of the expectations that I have right now, taking a look at it, and I'll do another update within our Discord server, hopefully within the next kind of 12 to 24 hours to see how things are going out as well. So guys, I'm going to leave it there. If you have found this useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all that said, done and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.